So the H file is similar to the other ones, except I just put a sphere in there, and I use a low polygon sphere, and I could have, I guess I could have turned on subdivisional surface rendering to get rid of those ridges on my sphere, but it's actually okay in there. It's showing a little bit of fluctuation in the surface, not much, but a little bit. Um, and if we play through this. This is the same as the animation I did with the man. So if I just play through this, we're going to see the colors fluctuating. And I adjusted two of the cameras position a little bit. I think it's a 1 meter tall ball, either 1 meter or 2 meter. I think 1 meter tall ball. And so on the sphere, as opposed to the human being, we see the effect of the lights and the angle maybe a little bit clearer. And so it just shows it off more, especially if we were to like go to the, like here's the red, green, and blue. So red, green, and blue. And then later on when I got cyan, magenta, um, or red, all the values are the same, mixing to white. And so in the file, not that one, not that one. In the Houdini file, where I'm looking through the portrait camera, so I lowered that. So we can see that the animation of the lights, the animation position and the animation light color is the same as the one I did with the man. I just put in a sphere. And we see the color mixing of the light values, so they all mix to white. And as I said, if you're trying to create a specific effect where the your effect is also adjusting the lighting. And one, I guess, one real important aspect to mention about this is in. Uh, so when I first started doing feature films at Digital Domain, there was the 3D department, and at the 3D department, you might do anything. And then there became like the um, animation department and the 3D department and then the lighting department. And so it kind of split into three. And then so the effects department kind of was born. But then so now the effects department has also almost become simulation department. And the people doing effects are doing smoke, water, breaking, geometry. But they're not doing the whole wide range of effects. And so I guess I'm glad I grew up when I did. I'm glad I'm the age I am, because I got a chance to do all of these things. Even character animation on a Bugs Life game, and did rigging. uh, and I realized that it took another part of my brain. If I wanted to do effects, my brain thinks one way. If I want to do character animation, my brain has to think another way. And then, so I decided to go with effects. And but the thing that's being lost is sometimes the effects need to overlap, and lighting and effects should be more married together than it is. And what's happening is that lighting is becoming. Let me play this over loop. The lighting and compositing is getting married together, which also makes sense. But sometimes effects needs to be more involved in the lighting part and to render specific lighting elements, or to use the lighting in a scene to uh, create the effect. And so one example is when I worked on the first X-Men movie, Magneto's mutant making machine on this little desert island where he's nuking that senator, um, and turning him into a water mutant. The uh, the when they shot it, they shot this metal, and I had to replace some of the metal. And so there's this strobing light moving on the metal, and I had to match the keyframe for that to animate the light of my render, which was going to animate the 3D metal to match the real metal. And so what I did was in Houdini, there's a function where I could pick any pixel on the screen, like the relative pixel, so like not the pixel number, but like the UV value, 0 to 1, and this would be like 0.5553 or whatever, and then Y UV like that way. And I could pick a particular pixel and pull the light value off of it, and then use that to adjust the color and the light of my 3D light. Um, and so being able to read an image, and that's Houdini's built-in compositor could do that. So I would do that where I would extract that value. And so when I did this for David Prescott on X-Band, he was like saying, well, I got to do this keyframing stuff. And I'm just kind of like, baloney with that. I'm going to cheat. And he looked at the first animation that I did where I matched it, and he goes, wow, you're really close on the lighting. And I'm like, the timing of the lighting, I'm so like, I'm not close, I'm exact. uh, because it was extracting it from the image, and so the little fluctuations of the light, whatever, was coming right off the image. And so um, and on a curved surface, that highlight position might vary a little bit. And so but the important thing was that my element that I generated was using the lighting from the plate. Now, other lost opportunities was I worked on Batman Superman, and there was a sequence where the Flash comes back to talk to uh, Bruce Wayne. Was it Bruce Wayne? Not Clark Kent. Bruce Wayne, when he's in his like Batcave control center, and he's like passed out, and the Flash like comes back from the past or the future or whatever, to talk to Batman to say, Batman, we need your help for something. And in the movie, it was just kind of a what sequence, and but the way it looked was like what. And I say that because I worked a little bit on that shot. I actually didn't have anything that made it into the movie, so I can't even claim I really worked on it. But I was involved in it. That's when I was learning MPC's pipeline, and that was one of the shots that helped me learn the pipeline. And there were like three people working on the same effect, and but the lighting on that shot was not matching the plate. And so there was like this flashing going on in the effects, and but the compositor nor the effects people were using the actual plate background, which was flashing, to get that the effect lighting to match the plate lighting. And to me, when I looked at the plate, it's like the plate's got so much cool lighting going on. If we could only like set our effects to match and pulsate with that, and set the lighting of those effects to match the position of those, it would just make that shot or that sequence just really um, pop out and be outstanding. And what it ended up being was that there was like all these like contradictory lighting things that were going on, which was to me was sending confusing information to the viewer, where the viewer's brain would be like, that's not right. They don't know why it's not right, but instinctively, the viewer would know it's not right, and you're getting garbage basically. And I was really disappointed that that wasn't even a consideration. And I think part of the reason why it wasn't a consideration was that there was a new generation that had grown up that had started doing just facts or just lighting or just compositing, and not understanding the overlap and the importance of the overlap and the communication between departments to try to get that to work together. And that's the disadvantage of movies becoming so huge, where um, if the right hand doesn't know what the left hand's doing. I know there's some weird idiom there, but that that would help. And so that's why, partly the reason why I'm showing this is that um, if you're an effects artist and you're going to uh, create effects, the lighting is an integral part of the effect, and understanding how the colors blend to create an effect um, can be used. Now, I just have three lights circling around top, but that light source can be light emitted from geometry that your particle where your particles came from. You could create a light source that that creates light from your particles, and it can even pick the color of the particles. So you could do a full render of your effect, and then also have your particles generate a light source, and you could paste that rendered final picture over the particles geometry, and then have that color in the geometry become a geometry light. So your geometry light is then using your final render to render the background. And so like a black and white picture like I'm doing here, and that black and white scene can then be used by the compositor to add in the color of the effect affecting the background. And it would also mean that the lighter doesn't need to do that, or you would teach the lighter how to do this. But uh, lost opportunities of not understanding the full pipeline workflow. And so I guess this message goes not only to compositors and lighters, but and effects people. It goes to all the, and also it goes to the dang supervisor who should know that. Shame on them.